And we are back. We are united by Rice, where we talk about all things related to AA, NHPI, entertainment, creative spaces, and beyond. I'm Junko Goda, one of your hosts.
And I'm Ben. And on this episode, we're going to talk about Beef Season 2 a little bit. We've talked about Beef Season 2 before, but also really highlight our guest for this show, Charles Melton, who plays Austin in the season. Fantastic role. And really one of the up-and-coming actors in our space, not just in the API space, but look, he's really heating up. He was in May, December, which got a lot of real Oscar attention, not just for him, but then has led to him being cast in a number of things. And I think it's rumors, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, that he's going to be cast in the new X-Men movie that Marvel's working on. So it's quite possible we're talking to someone that is not just in the process of blowing up, but really going to blow up soon. So
Nice.
Also a fascinating conversation. He very thoughtful. In fact, I had the longest uncomfortable pause in an interview because I asked him a question and he really wanted to think about it and give me an answer. I might edit some of the pause out.
So
you won't maybe all experience it,
or we can cut to your face panicking. Yeah. Like, how's the connection? Yeah. What's wrong?
but a great conversation, because there were no talking point. I'm just going to give you the canned answer responsive from him. He's just really thoughtful, I think, as a person, but also you could tell that he goes about his craft a certain way. So really a pleasure to talk to. And nice. I don't know, Junko, if you follow I don't know. I probably listen to too many podcasts, and I love things. I love lists. I love it when people do things like, here are the top 40 actors under 35 or something like that. Now, if we did that in the Asian American space, that would be challenging because everybody looks young.
Everyone generally is in their mid-30s. That's it.
Yeah. But I guess what I would say is, if I had to, if we were doing a fantasy draft of Asian American actors, and it was a dynasty league, and you were picking someone for the upcoming year.
What the heck is a dynasty league?
This is good conversation. This is good conversation because it is also fantasy football season. Okay, ready? You've never played fantasy football, it sounds like, right?
I've played once, half-assed once.
So there are multiple types and styles of fantasy football.
Okay.
Most of the time you play 1 year and everything's inclusive of one season. So if we're drafting, I'm drafting, you're down in LA, so I'm drafting a Rams
or your player. I don't know.
Well, here I'm taking Tom Brady, or I'm taking
whoever
for just one season.
Yeah.
And his value in the draft is based on that one season. There are also leagues called dynasty leagues, and the requirement is you're in this league, you have a group of friends and you're doing this league year over year over year, where some of the picks you're making you get to keep for the future.
Oh, okay.
So they have more value if you think they're going to be even bigger and have a long career.
Yeah.
So I would say for Charles Melton, if I was doing a dynasty league pick of Asian American actors, he's easily top 3, I think.
Yeah.
I think first of all, for folks that do watch the video of our podcast, like, you can just hide me and stare at him. He's just amazingly good looking. Chiseled jawline. He's half Korean. But he's also, again, like, a fantastic actor. The way he portrays Austin is so amazing. So we'll talk about that more. I don't know. Are there other I know I follow this more than you, but do you have, who would be your top couple picks in the AAPI actor draft?
Dang. Of
totally putting you on the spot here.
No kidding. I was like, can't we just, is it cheating if I was just like, that entire cast of Last Airbender?
The core. Cheating.
Okay.
Kind of cheating. I mean, can you pick a couple? Can you pick a couple?
Yeah. I was okay. Well, I mean, just because
How about
I know
Dallas
Mia.
Liu? Okay.
Yeah, Dallas. Yeah, Dallas works hard. I've worked with him a little before, and Mia,
Okay.
Miyako Sech. Um, just because I know them, but they work really hard. And I've known them in like a working or actor context, so
Okay.
um, they're ready. They're ready
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
what comes next for them. Who else would be? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, there's just so much, especially in the young adult genre,
Yeah.
which would actually also probably include the Descendants. Like, I don't have any offspring, so I'm just not naturally exposed to the
To
YA.
the younger folks. Yeah.
Yeah, that genre and those kids. So, like, yeah.
We should do a whole episode and actually do a draft. I'll make you do some research. I kind
Okay.
of think of it as like there's a few tiers now or generations of Asian actors, right? Like there's obviously there's the OGs, the Lucy Liu's. There's the kind of newer to fame folks like Simu Liu and that kind of era of actors.
Right,
Steven
right.
Yeun, you could probably throw in a group like that. Then
Mm-hmm.
there's that, they're not 20 somethings group. Like actually the whole cast of the season, right? They would all fit
Yeah.
into that like 30 plus
Yep.
group who can actually take on mature roles.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have that young group, a lot of the Avatar cast, people like
Right,
Ben
right, right.
Lang, who's
Yeah.
in getting cast in lots of things. So
Yep.
it'd be interesting to kind of break this down actually someday. And then maybe the Wasians like Charles, we have to put in their own
Yeah.
category, right? Who knows?
Ah.
Because you have Hudson on what's the hockey show?
Oh, there is.
Yeah. Oh
Oh,
my
I
God,
have not been. I have
you
not
missed
been
out on
following
you missed out on a whole phenomenon.
the hockey.
The gay hockey show.
Oh, yeah.
What's it called?
Heated rivalry.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So,
yes.
but anyway, yeah. Okay, so going back to Beef, it's probably been a while since you've seen it.
Yeah.
But part of the reason Charles was available for interviews is we are in phase 2 of Emmys voting.
Yep.
So for people listening who have no idea what I'm talking about, that is the period of time where the nominations have been done and we're right before the voting for the winners. And so people that are available are out there doing some press now and different events. And Beef is one of the highly recognized shows for the Emmys, along with, of course, the cast. I don't remember. Did you watch season 2 of Beef?
I did, but man, I watched it in the spring. So okay. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Has it been out that long? I guess so. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing, with the shows is that I think there's a timing to it, and there's a slight disadvantage for being a show that's out January, February, March, which season 2 is kind of under that category. Yeah. So, I guess it's like just people have to rewatch it or just remember.
Yeah, for sure. And, hopefully voters do stuff like that, right? Now, he plays Austin, opposite Cailee Spaeny's character. And if you recall, they're the young couple in the show that Cailee's character works at the country club that Oscar Isaac's character, Josh, works at. He's like the general manager, but maybe his job is at risk. So he's working really hard to hold on to that. But then Cailee and Austin, because they're trying to return a wallet that he had left at the club, witness an argument that he's having with his wife, Carey Mulligan, or the character that she's playing, of course.
Records it.
And then all things, kind of go to hell in terms of leverage. The fact that they have that video and et cetera, et cetera.
And so they have a beef. Many layers of beef going on in season 2.
What I've learned as I've interviewed people who've worked on that show is that they really tried to depict the different couples and sets. Actually, we talked to Grace Yending.
Yeah. Yes.
So as seasons, right? And so Austin and Cailee's character they are spring and they're like the young couple and the start of their relationship, and hope springs eternal, right? Um, my favorite scene, one of my favorite scenes, and for people that listen to the interview, I asked him this question, and I think he was almost insulted by it. I would love to hear people's take on it, because Beef at the end of the day is like a comedy, right? It's funny,
right? It's a dark comedy, yeah.
And if you remember, one of the very first scenes that Austin's in, he's like sitting in the middle of, I don't know, their kitchen, their living room. He's on the floor, and there's like a bee that's dying, and he's like, dropping water on the bee to try to like bring it back to life.
Yeah.
And it really, showed a lot about his character, right? Like this very emotional, sensitive, thoughtful person. But then, of course, he also has like, some self-esteem issues, etc.
Yeah.
And I asked him, like, do you ever break during any of these scenes, because you have to play them so seriously, but at its core, it's like an absurd scene. And he was like, "Oh no. That was very like emotional, and so
yeah, because you can't play. Yes, yeah.
I learned so much about maybe not just his approach to acting, but maybe how all good actors approach acting, which is you have to see that scene for what Austin sees that moment as, which is he's really sad that the bee might die, and he's doing everything he can to bring it to life, and it's not funny to him at all. So
right. It should be funny to the audience, but the actor can never really. The actor can never really play for the audience. It's whatever is in that character's mind in that moment. So yeah.
So it was again, like, you just get really good answers from him, and it was so fun to talk to him.
Good. Nice.
Yeah, and so Beef season 2, I hinted at some of the, maybe offline, some of the casting rumors around Charles Melton.
Right, yeah.
And I know you're not in the Marvel universe, but there is an X-Men movie coming,
which I like. I like X-Men.
Okay. It's a huge deal. Now, I don't know if you know this, but the directors of that film are Sonny, who is the creator and writer for Beef. Jake Schreier, who's like his, like a collaborator, also directed episodes of Beef, both season 1, season 2. So it wouldn't seem too far-fetched that maybe Charles Melton could get
has a shot
to read for a role. So I think he's been rumored as potentially Beast. I don't think that's been confirmed.
Now, I was thinking Cyclops, but okay.
I don't know if there's an announcement for Cyclops yet. Seemingly they've announced a couple. They've announced Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. Spoiler alert. But also Emma Frost is going to be played by Samara Weaving. I think those are like official announcements. I'm not sure about the other ones. And you might have said this to me, but D23 is in a couple weekends, and perhaps it's highly speculated that they will announce the cast of X-Men. So maybe this rumor will quickly be put to bed or confirmed. But,
yes. Well, if I had a casting choice, I was like, Cyclops. But you said the Beast, and I was like, wow, that is the complete opposite.
Beast is a hard one, right? Because he's blue.
Well, and I guess we have, I don't think we've, at least in live action iterations, I don't think we've met a Beast who is a teen. We tend to meet like Funkle,
like a professor,
Funkle Beast. Yeah.
And it's Kelsey Grammer, if you recall, in
the recent ones
of the episodes. And in fact, he was featured in the Comic-Con presentation. So he will appear in Avengers Doomsday. But I think we could all assume for Doomsday that we're going to get some type of multiverse, and they're going to pay homage to the Sony actors, or the actors in the Sony version of X-Men, and then Marvel's essentially going to reboot with their own X-Men film. I think it's slated for 2027 at some point, I think. So
it's so far away.
yeah. Did you watch May December?
Yes, I did. Yeah, yeah.
More? Yeah.
Yes, and my friend Calvin Honey played Charles's father. So.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. So he was
Yes.
terrific in that. I will 100% admit I'm not a big watcher of these type of shows, but did you ever watch Riverdale? Because I believe he's most kind of that certainly sparked his career. I think it was in Riverdale, CW show, I believe.
I did not. Did I audition for that show once?
Okay.
And maybe that's. I don't remember. I think I did. Yeah, I did once. I watched a show.
Will you not watch a show? Will you not watch a show if you auditioned for it and got denied?
No. Nah.
I did.
No, like auditions are like a dime a dozen. It's just like it kind of the title doesn't matter after a while. It's just like, what's the world? What's the character? What do you want me to do? Okay, kind of thing. So, yeah.
Wait, I think we talked about this during Grace Yoon's episode, who was the production designer for Beef. But do you have any current beefs with anybody that you want to share?
That's
sounds like you might have a neighbor issue, Junko.
Yes. Well, which is kind of like dissipated. Maybe it's like a Zen beef transition thing. I suppose I had a slight beef with well, not really a specific person, but more of just an existence. But so about 4 years ago, unfortunately, my neighbor passed away without bequeathing her home to anyone. I am, as a reminder, I live in the state of California, so there are certain specific rules around that. But, the world being the world that it is, squatters came in, so I've had to deal with them. There's a lot of laws around it that I've learned. But in good news, someone has taken ownership of the home. And, so there's a lot of great activity, and everyone on my block is rejoicing. And whenever the for sale sign goes up, I'm like, I will have a beer in my driveway. And then when it's sold, hopefully I'll have good neighbors. I will have another celebratory beer, and whoever wants one.
Going back to Beef. Have you worked on your hamstring stretch at all? Do you remember that scene where
let's see.
Austin is kind of I guess he's auditioning to be the physical therapist at the country club.
Oh, right.
Eunice, who's YJ's assistant.
You like that scene.
Of course, it's sexy as hell. I mean, you've got like Charles Melton and this beautiful Korean actress. I don't remember her background, if she's also a singer or whatnot. And they're wearing athletic or athleisure. It's a very memorable scene. So I've generally had to ask everybody about that scene, because I also don't know anybody that can stretch that far.
Oh no, I'm back. I'm training Aikido again. Well, I mean, dude, they're also like 20 years younger than us. Of course you can be that flexible. Dude, that's another reality. When you're young.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, I could definitely do that in my 20s, 30s. Yeah, I was born flexible / also took gymnastic classes. So
yeah,
it's fine. Yeah. Wait, what kind of responses have you gotten from other people about that scene?
I think the most telling or most interesting thing is that it was written in the script that at that point the actress that plays the character, let me look her up right now.
Because she was the secretary to some type of
personal assistant to the chairwoman part played by YJ, right?
Yeah.
And she, my understanding, I can't remember who told me this, if this was her. I think her name is So-Yeon Jang, and plays Eunice.
Eunice, that's right.
My understanding, maybe it was actually Sonny who told me this, or someone who told me this, that she then was like training, like actually working on that, so that when they shot that scene, everybody was actually kind of shocked that she could do that, right? Because it's not something that she could do before they cast her. So,
there you go. Dedication
to the craft, right? I mean, it's the smallest and shortest scene in a 8-episode show, but clearly maybe weirdos like me remember it.
Yes. Hetero males will probably remember it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. But yeah, no, it again, like that show, good shows, good films have stuff like that, right? You'll always think of 2 or 3 scenes as you think back on it and say, oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those are scenes that you haven't seen before, or
Yeah. Yeah.
connote some type of emotion or tension in the scene that only has only been done once in film and TV.
Right.
I
Yeah.
like stuff like that. So,
Mm. The inadvertently memorable scenes. I'm sure the
yeah.
writers are like, this can't possibly be one of the most memorable moments.
I mean, it's a really good question, right? Because everything, as you know, is intentional, right? It was
Of
clearly
course.
meant to show some sexual tension.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
what did the impact have of her being able to stretch an extra 20 degrees? And what does that impact have on viewer, right? It's like just fascinating to
Right,
me.
but yeah, but I mean, as far as what's memorable, I think that'll always be out of the hands of the writer, because there's so many things, not only like the sound or the music, or there's a lot of things that have to line up to make it
Yeah.
memorable.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if she hadn't trained for it, it wouldn't have been or they could have swapped her out with a double as like, try it,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
masking with a different angle and kind of insert, someone else.
100%, that was my assumption, right? So then
Yeah,
when I asked
yeah.
the questions of people, I'm like, no, that's her. It's like, holy
That's
cow.
her, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Yeah, so that's like an example of the actor like going the extra mile, because she, as Eunice, the character, is like, because I guess the context is like assessing Charles's character's personal
yeah.
coaching, or personal coaching skills. That's the context of it. But she knows that there's that selling point to audiences about making that moment look sexy. So as
Well,
the actor, as your
yeah.
job, like you're execute, it's like, okay, you take a step back, like I get what you're going for, so I'll do the extra,
Yeah.
extra work.
And if I try to justify my liking of that scene beyond
You
just
don't have to.
perversion, right? Like, if you think about what it actually means to the story arc, right? Because part of what's happening in that scene and beyond is Austin develops a little bit of a crush for her, which then has an impact on his relationship with his
girlfriend,
fiance.
or fiance at this point.
Yeah, and in many ways, actually, I'm glad we actually are talking about this in a serious way now. In many ways, if you think about the theme of his character in the show, right, he is played as half Korean, but there's not a lot of talk about it. But then, because the ownership group of the country club, and again, chairwoman Park, played by the legendary YJ, comes into the picture, Austin, is somewhat, call it, forced to tap into that part of his identity that maybe he hasn't, because his fiance is American, white American, right? And I think that's really the point of this moment. Is up until then, Eunice is just wearing suits and is the secretary or assistant for YJ, and then all of a sudden we see her spark a romantic interest out of him, which then has a whole arc on its own. So,
and I think also like Eunice, because she's such an unknown, even at that point, so you don't know if she's doing that for another purpose. So it's an interesting moment.
Yeah, she's a mysterious character the rest of the way, because you don't know exactly what
her intentions are.
Intentionally, she's doing something intentionally, but you don't know if it's romantic or not, essentially.
Yeah, right? I think at that point, I always felt like she was, as a personal assistant to YJ, that she was always going to test people who are going to be near her. So she could have just, I was like, I could have guessed like, oh, maybe Eunice is just setting Austin up for failure. She's already deemed him, a threat to YJ. So she's going to just frame him for something and he'll be out of her life. I don't think. You never know. Yeah.
And then I think it tied into Charles Melton's journey as an actor on this show, he got to go to Korea and film in Korea, and he said it was the first time like some of his family had ever been able to come to set and see him film scenes in Korea. Like, so I think it was a real profound experience for him as well to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's and everyone's so nice when like families on set visiting, and everyone's so nice, and yeah, and just because you're in a film family bubble, really, when you're shooting. So and obviously it's carving out a large chunk of your day and life. So it's special when you get to show your family like what you do, especially because they see the end product and they're probably like, what are you doing all day?
Right.
And then they arrive on set. Hopefully they arrive like 30 minutes before lunch, because or else no one decides to stay longer than like 2 hours, or else it's going to be like, oh, it's a hurry up and wait process. Like, okay.
Yeah, I remember one of the first times I got invited to a set visit thinking, this is the coolest thing in the world. And it was. Like, to see a set is really cool.
Yeah.
But I remember
what show was it?
It was For All Mankind.
Okay.
And I remember, and they're going to like film a little scene that we get to watch. And I got to tell you, it was like 50 minutes of watching a 30-second probably scene over
less
and
than
over
that
and
even.
over again. I'm like, okay, I think I've seen enough.
That's what I'm saying. It's a weird little world how entertainment is created, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to a real good-looking guy named Charles Melton. So, pleasure to have him, and it's a pleasure to talk to you about this. We are United by Rice Podcast on Instagram, as well as you can find our podcast on Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and YouTube. Thank you all for listening. Let's talk about Beef. And I know that Sonny had more or less identified you either as a actor he had wanted to play Austin, or maybe had conversations with you prior. But can you kind of fill in the gaps in my head of how you really entered the franchise?
We there was a dinner that Bing Chen with the Gold House was hosting for me during May-December when we were doing the awards press circuit, and incredible filmmakers were there: Chloe Zhao, Lulu Wang. So excited that I'm working with Lulu Wang here in the future, and then praying to cook something up with Chloe. But then, Sonny sat next to me and he showed me a picture, and, we connected at a few of these events, and he showed me a picture on his phone and he said, "This is in my writer's room." And I was like, "Oh, why?" And he's like, "We're writing the character for you." And what Sonny does so well is, there's a pinch me moment for one, but what he does so well is, a part of his collaboration is these like really long meetings where you're kind of just being very vulnerable and sharing existential things and philosophies and certain impactful moments in your life. And he kind of gauges the essence of who you are, and then he excavates into his writing what he knows only you can do. So that was kind of the genesis of our meeting and the genesis of Austin that we created together. I mean, he grew up in Korea in his younger years. I grew up in Korea. He's Korean American. I'm Korean American. So I was very moved to have an artist, a creator, write a Korean American story, because I haven't seen one of those. But not that that's like a talking point. He just came to me as an artist, and I just so happened to be Korean American, and I shared about that experience, and that was the texture and who this realized human being was in Austin.
Well, it's interesting because if you think about that meeting, or maybe the subsequent discussions you had with him, Austin's character, it's not on the nose that there's this struggle between two identities. It's really done through the relationship with Eunice almost. And I'm curious, when you describe the meeting you had with Sonny and how he writes for something that only you could do, had that concept
come out through some of those early discussions?
I would say yes and no. I think, Sunday and I really bonded over our love for Korean cinema and the subtlety of, some of our favorite performances and the blending of genres. I mean, when you think of Song Kang-ho and what he does in every film, he's the greatest actor of all time. He says so much with his eyes. Like, you can see his humanity without him saying anything. And, with Austin, I talked a lot about, Austin was who I was 15 years ago. And I still do have self-doubt. Austin has this immense amount of self-doubt that we as an audience get to watch unravel in the most absurd circumstances when his heart is in the right place. And that's funny, and it reminds me of some of my favorite Korean films. I mean, Parasite, Memories of Murder, and No Other Choice by Park Chan-wook. There's just so many things. I think there's so much nuance in just not saying the thing. I think you just leave that up for the audience. Like, with Austin, he's navigating so much his relationship, his independency in that relationship, his codependency. He's navigating making decisions from a place of indecision. And that's why when we come to episode 8, where he's in that taxi cab scene, we finally see or think we know why he's making a decision, but he makes a decision to go back to Ashley. And that's kind of, for me, when I think of that image, I think of just kind of the masks that he has of, people pleasing and putting everyone before himself. It kind of just disintegrates. And then it's for the first time you see him make a decision for himself.
Well, there's different interpretations of that ending too, or kind of the arc for Austin. I think when I first watched, I thought, well, it looks like Eunice isn't really validating Austin's feelings. And so that's why he's going back to Ashley. But I still remember the last scene, or the kind of flash forward scene, and then just asking myself, is Austin happy? Like, was this just a momentary blip in their relationship and a crush? Or has he settled for something? Like, how do you interpret the arc that your character goes through, and particularly that ending?
Like you said, it's great because it's up to your interpretation, right? I think of the ending when the ending shot of Samsara, which is a commentary to the cycles of life and generations and history repeating itself in a new timeline, right? And in that moment, when we see Austin, a glimpse into the future, it's just a moment, no moment is perfect. And I think you see Austin, the first 7 episodes, he's like, you're kind of seeing the crumbling of this puppy dog honeymoon phase. You're seeing the shadows of these characters truly be revealed throughout the show. And, where they're not playing the part, so to speak, anymore. And for me, if as an audience, if I'm looking at that, I'm like, yeah, I mean, who hasn't been in a bad mood and didn't feel like, reading, late at night after a long day of work, and their wife is asking them to do something, or vice versa, I think that's just the moment we see, and that's left up to the audience. But I like to believe they're out there, like, living their best life, experiencing the circles of life, the cycles of life.
You mentioned Sonny had told you he was writing the role for you. Do you know what he saw you in that really, it stuck in his head that he wanted? Was it May, December?
Yeah, it was May, December. He saw me in May, December, and he specifically referenced the rooftop scene. How he said a version of, it's so heartbreaking, but it's also so funny, but it's also so young and old. And he was just the contusion of all these different things he said that I was like holding in that scene, like, conveyed a lot. So I think that's good, and that's like what I love about Austin, right? I think with Sonny, the way he writes, the reason why Beef is so funny is because, especially, is because, with Oscar and Carey and Cailee and all of us, the reason why it's so funny, and really Austin's so funny, is because none of us are playing the joke. Life is funny on its own. without trying to tell a joke. That's the kind of humor I'm drawn to. When Sonny would talk about the Coen brothers, when someone paid me a compliment about doing what Brad Pitt did in Burn After Reading, and I was like those are, I love Brad Pitt in that. And that was like one of my favorite performances of his. And then, I think it's a difficult thing to do comedy without playing comedy. A lot of people can't do that,
Yeah. I think one of the opening scenes, if not the opening scenes where we are introduced to you, besides the argument, is you're trying to resuscitate a bee with the water. And I don't even know if that's possible. I mean, for you, were there scenes that just made you break? Because to your point, you can't really express the comedy of the situation on your face in the scene. But while you're
break while filming?
Yeah.
Oh no, Ben. No. That scene specifically, I would be upset sometimes. Like I have a very I remember filming that scene, that bee scene, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. And on that day in my work, it's like heartbreaking because you kind of see who Austin is in that moment of him trying to save the bee, being completely helpless and hopeless, but still trying. And it's kind of it was a pretty heavy scene for me specifically. And then afterwards, there'll be times where Sonny, like, is everyone laughing at me? Why are they laughing at me? Because I was so protective of Austin. Because like when I'm in it, I'm in it.
Yeah.
And there was never like specifically in that scene, it didn't just cut. Like technically it was a difficult scene, but it didn't just cut and then I'm like laughing at Austin saving a bee. I think there's no truth and authenticity in that. And then I wouldn't be able to do the work if I'm thinking about how this is funny. It's almost like relinquishing any set form, like structured idea. So then moments can be revealed to me in a scene,
Yeah. So you're talking about the acting process where you really do have to immerse yourself into the emotion of what Austin is truly feeling in that moment. And because it's a very pivotal scene for us to understand who Austin is. You're right.
Yeah, I think that's just like a part of the work, and everyone has like their own processes to get to that place, but hopefully they're healthy in how they do it. But yeah, you have to believe in it,
Along those lines, Austin's been described as kind of like a himbo character, right? And it in the wrong hands, Austin could have really been played to be too much of a trope, right? To not be taken seriously. Was that a hard calibration to find?
When I first read it, I had a lot of judgment reading Austin, which I think is normal sometimes, especially when it's so close and vulnerable to you when you're creating this being and collaborating about who this character is with the creator. But then I knew, Sonny trusted in me and I trusted in him because he knew that I was going to take off the page, what was two-dimensional, and like bring my essence to kind of fill in the space in between the words, Sometimes I'd be a little frustrated with myself because I kind of just had to relinquish control and completely be vulnerable to just be. I couldn't, there's a thing. Let me try to articulate this. Whenever it talks about process, it's so difficult because it can be so cliche or lame, but it's like I was completely aware of Austin and I have to be completely aware, but then I have to completely eliminate that awareness as who he is to completely embrace and be embodied by what he is, who he is with me, to then not, like I know I'm on a set and everyone makes this what it is. I know I have like different marks and whatnot, but there's kind of like this trick in the process where you kind of have to just forget that in a healthy way that, like this is real life. We're playing, we're having so much fun. We're playing. This is like an imaginary world and like who knows what's going to happen next. And there's a lot of moments of that with, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. I just got off a long train of thought for a quick second. But
no, it's great. Your work stands on its own, but in this show you get to work with Cailee Spaeny and Oscar and Carey and then of course legendary actors from Korea, right?
Right.
I'm curious at this stage in your career, do you take a little bit from their performances or watching them do the work that they do? And is there anything that stuck with you that you are going to bring with you in your future projects?
Yeah, I just think, each and every one of them are so brilliant and incredible and have such rich inner lives outside of the work, but then, bring that richness in their work. And when we're on set, you never know what's going to happen. Everyone's so prepared and they're not just showing up. And I would say each and every one I have like strong memories with, strong like experiences with them. We're all fairly close, and Cailee's one of my best friends. Song Kang-ho. Song Kang-ho to me is, when I first worked with him, I couldn't believe it. I was in awe to where I got emotional. I had to excuse myself and like kind of shed a few tears of just, and it was just the artist he is. Even on set, they turned around and they were setting up to shoot Carey and Cailee and myself. And, I kind of like to, be the first one on set usually and, show up, and like, I'm not afraid to like run my stuff or like think or just sit. And I went to set and the cameras are not even on Song Kang-ho, and he's already there just like running it and like rehearsing it and just like moving through things and like walking. And I was just like, that's like the great. And it's him right there. And look at him just by himself in this room, like just working things out. It was incredible. I almost feel guilty to like share that with you because it's such a sacred moment and I got to witness that and be with him.
I'm just curious, as you have evolved in this industry and the type of roles that you look for, how does your identity influence the type of roles you're interested in, and is Hollywood ready for that right now? And where do you think the current state of opportunity is for actors like yourself?
I love what I do. And why limit art to identity? I'm an artist, and there's so much space, and there's so much space being created naturally. More space is coming. And I'm so grateful that, Sonny is a part of that space where he's creating great art, getting people from all walks of life and different cultures to be a part of his vision and what he's creating. And for him to be a part of, the first story that I know that really touches on the half Korean, half white experience, half Korean American experience, was very close to me because for many of reasons, just with my own, whenever what draws me to a character is not the ethnicity, and I don't read characters because of their ethnicity. I read characters. I read human beings. And, when opportunity presents itself, when the work or the structure of the art form is, touching on certain issues or certain parts of the human condition, for example, Austin's case, his identity and him coming back to Korea. For me, that was very monumental because we ended up filming the finale, Ben, in Korea. And my whole family in Korea and Seoul, like Korean farmers and like people like that, they could never imagine coming to my set, and they came to my set and watched me film. And they didn't even know what my character's journey was, but it was also very powerful for me and did something spiritually on like a DNA level by being there, being home, being back to my roots, and also some way, shape, or form like informed Austin. But I don't know if I answered your question. It was like a really layered question, and I hope I answered it decently.
That was a beautiful answer. I do, we are United by Rice on our podcast. And since you're talking about Korea, one question I ask everybody is, long day on set, you're hungry, you're starving, you want some comfort food. What is your favorite like rice-based dish that you're like, this is home. This feels like home to me?
Kimchi fried rice. Oh my gosh. Or like just like classic, Korean, sticky rice. Sticky rice is like, that's my jam, and rice with like sundubu or kimchi jjigae. Oh man, Dude, my mom, like, she had the rice cooker growing up. I mean, my whole life. Like, that was my snack. My snack wasn't, I mean, I did have fruit roll-ups, but my snack was opening up the rice cooker, getting the long cream spoon, scooping with rice. Actually, no, I didn't even use a spoon. I would get seaweed in my hand and pinch it out of the rice cooker.
Yeah.
And maybe put kimchi in it and just like eat it like that. That's my go-to. That's my comfort, man.
Yeah.
That's my comfort.
You're not the first to say it. So amazing. Congratulations. And it's an amazing show. And I hear there's some other projects that Jake and Sonny are working on that I hope you get to be a part of. So
yeah,
ears are open.
Keep on
care.
representing.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
See ya.